Okay, so good evening, everyone. And today's topic is one of the important topics in Snowflake that we'll be studying, and it is the access control framework which Snowflake provides. Okay, so any application or any database that you might have worked previously, all of them have certain access control framework associated. So when we talk about access control framework, it's nothing but the privileges, the objects, ownerships, the users that you create in the system, the roles that you create in the system, the kind of privileges you assign to users, to roles, and how you associate roles with users. So that is nothing but an access control framework, right? So similarly, Snowflake also has its own access control framework. That is what we are going to look deeply into today. So I'll start with the definitions and we'll do certain demos also hands-on. And then we'll, if time permits, we'll do an exercise. And yeah, if any questions, I'll take them. So yeah, so Snowflake's approach.
Sorry, Abdul.
Yeah.
Abdul,
Yeah.
your screen is not full. Looks like half of the screen is showing the PowerPoint and the rest of the half is the Tamil Bhumi picture. Is it something me looking like this?
Wait, let me.
No, for me also same only.
Is this better?
No.
Yeah, it's better.
No, it's better, but usually your entire screen.
That they should go to slide mode.
This way? You're talking?
No, even if he goes to slide mode, only half of the screen is available for PowerPoint. Rest of the screen is the Tamil Bhumi symbol.
Actually, this thing, I don't know how to remove this. So you see this thing which this Tamil Bhumi settings are coming.
Yeah. That's okay.
Is this better, guys?
That's better, Abdul. I can see the full screen actually.
See, I mean, I think you might not be able to see the bottom part of the screen. So when I come to bottom part, I will just drag it up. Is that okay?
Yeah, okay, Abdul.
Okay, you can see the you can see till privileges, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
User also we are able to see.
Oh, okay. I'm not sure why Shiva.
No, so Venkat, so
yes.
are you able to see the PowerPoint in its entire screen, or half of the screen is only PowerPoint and half of the screen are Tamil Bhumi or whoever is talking?
No, I can see the entire screen starting from that Snowflake's approach till the persons of program till the last line I can able to see.
Okay, fine. Yeah.
Okay, so can I continue, guys? Is it okay now?
Yes, Abdul.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So yeah, so Snowflake's approach to access control combines aspects from both of the following models. Discretionary access control, which is DAC. Each object has an owner who can in turn grant access to that object. Role-based access control, which is also called as RBAC. Access privileges are assigned to roles which are in turn assigned to users. Okay, so basically two models on which the access control framework of Snowflake is based on. One is DAC, which is discretionary access control. So that means any object that you will create in Snowflake, okay? By any object, I mean is these objects, right? So whether it's a user, whether it's a role, whether it's a database, warehouse, schemas, objects under the schemas, whatever it is, whoever will create it, that particular entity will become the owner of that object. Okay. So if somebody creates a user, that entity will become the owner of that particular object. Okay. So that is called as DAC. So there'll be an ownership of that particular entity, whoever creates the object, and then there'll be roles. So certain privileges will be given to a role on that particular object. For example, it's a table. If you want to give select privileges that only a particular role or particular entity should be only able to view the contents of the table, that is select. It should not be able to do any DMLs like insert, update, or delete. So then we can give that select privilege to a role, and then that role can access this table as only a select privilege. So these two approaches Snowflake is based on: DAG and RBAC, role-based access control and discretionary access control. Okay, so combined with ownership and privileges given to the roles. Okay. Yeah. So the key concepts to understanding access control in Snowflakes are sequereable object, an entity to which access can be granted. So any entity in Snowflake, whether it's a role, whether it's a user, whether it's a table, database, warehouse, stages, anything, which can be given some access or which can be given some grants. Okay, so those are called as sequereable objects. So until and unless you give a grant on it, access for those sequereable objects will be denied. Okay, so this is pretty much what we see in our traditional databases or traditional applications. Pretty much the same. Okay, role and entity to which privilege can be granted. Okay, so there will be a set of privileges which you can grant to a role. Okay, then roles are in turn assigned to users. Okay, then once you grant a particular privilege, set of privileges to a role, that will be granted to users. Note that roles can also be assigned to other roles. Okay, so if you create a role and assign certain privileges, set of privileges to it, you can assign this role to another role as well. Okay, so this will create a hierarchy of roles. Then privileges, a defined level of access to an object. So its privileges is nothing but a set of rules or set of privileges or accesses that you want to give on an object. If that object is a table, or say if that object is a warehouse, so what kind of privileges can you give on it? You can give on it like that privilege to operate the warehouse, privilege to use the warehouse, privilege to alter it, privilege to suspend it, privilege to resume it. Those kind of privileges you can give to a warehouse on that particular warehouse object, right? So multiple distinct privileges may be used to control the granularity of access granted. Okay, so you can limit the level of access for a particular object by giving it a certain amount of privileges. So as I said just some time back, if you have a table and you just want to give to a particular role that you should only be able to select on that table, so you can just give that select privilege to the role and limit its access capability on that object. A user identity, what is a user? A user identity recognized by Snowflake, whether associated with a person or program. So user is nothing but yourself who will be logging into Snowflake, working on it, or it could be given to a group of people also, right? That particular, for example, if you have an application where you have a user created and it's kind of an app user, so that is nothing but a program user, correct? So these key concepts are required to understand the Snowflake access control. And if I show it a bit from the diagrammatic perspective, so see, this is our, and always users and roles are at the account level, guys. Okay, so say this is our account. Okay, and we will have at account level we have users. Okay, and at same account level only we have what you call as roles. Okay, we have roles, and then you have some other objects like databases and all that stuff. So this is your databases and all. So when initially you create an account, you also create a login user, right? So that is nothing but your user only. So in my case, the initially when I created the account, I named it as ABD31 Snowflake. Okay, so this was my user. Okay, and predefined, Snowflake comes with predefined roles also, right? So there are 5 predefined roles like account. I'll not write full names. Account admin, then there was sys admin, security admin, right? Then there was user admin, then there was public. These roles it came, and there was one more org admin. Okay, but when we look at the web UI, if you go at the web UI, we will see that although org admin is also present, but it is not associated with the role, I mean with the user, which means it has not been given the grant on the user. Okay, we just saw right here, roles are in turn assigned to users. Okay, so although we have an org admin role present, it is not assigned to the user. Which user? Right now we just have one user, ABD31 Snowflake, which I created during account creation. That is not associated to it, which is why we are not able to see in that option also, this list, when I'm trying to say switch role. And as I told you earlier, to get access to this particular role, you need to contact Snowflake support. Okay, so then they will give it to you. So these are predefined, which means Snowflake created as soon as you created your account. Okay, and the most powerful role amongst these is account admin. Okay, so this got associated with these roles by default. Okay, okay, except for org admin. Now we can create more users here. Okay, so they will also be at account level only, all the users. Okay, so say if I say create one more, like maybe ABD uh, 1 Snowflake, ABD 2 Snowflake, whatever, ABD 3 Snowflake. Okay, and you can create customized roles as well. Okay, so maybe say you have some for dev role, then you will have QA underscore role. Okay, maybe you have analyst. Okay, then you have say reporting role, prod support role. You can have many kinds of customized roles also created, and users also you can create as many you want. Okay, and then in turn the roles will be assigned to users, and the hierarchy is that roles can be assigned to users and roles can be assigned to roles also. Okay, so you can say grant user whatever to for role this, and then you can say grant on role this role. So say look at this picture. Say we have a certain set of privileges. Okay, okay, for as we just saw in the presentation, that it says you can have access granted to securable object. Okay, and how do you grant that? Through privileges, a defined level of access to an object. Okay, a defined level. So let's consider we are talking about a warehouse privileges. Okay, suppose this is some warehouse in our account. Okay, although I'm drawing it outside the account, but it's not outside the account. I'm just for explanation drawing it outside, but ideally it's exists inside the account. Okay, then say there's a warehouse. Let's say compute underscore warehouse underscore one. Okay, we created it, not the uh, predefined compute which Snowflake gives us. Okay, and we say that to a particular role. Okay, and suppose we have one role called ETL underscore load underscore role, suppose, and we want that this role should be having access to compute warehouse, this particular compute warehouse, or maybe I'll uh, let me forget it. So let's say there are some, I want this ETL underscore load role. It is basically needs to have an access on this particular warehouse. Okay. So what kind of privileges I can have on this role, on this particular object are, I can have something called as usage, something called as operate. Okay. And I can give privileges like suspend and resume to it. Okay. So these are the kind of privileges I can give on this warehouse. Okay. So say I don't want this ETL load role to have access of suspending and resuming. I just want to give the usage and operate. That's it. So this is a list of privileges I have associated on this role. So I will say, okay, so on compute warehouse 1, you have these privileges, ETL load role. So this now will be given to our users. For example, say I have a team of prod support who are going to look into the loading duty or task. So so there are say a set of 3 folks. Okay, Shiva, Venkat, and maybe Arumugam. These 3 folks are my production support folks, and they will be looking at this or monitoring this loading mechanism. So I will give, and these are created in my database also. So say it is created by the name Shiva, then this is Venkat, and this is Arumugam. Okay, so these are my users. So this is the way it is given. So remember the thumb rule, there is no privilege on the object directly given to the user. Okay, so what it means is Shiva cannot have some set of privileges given to it. Like say, maybe there's some other warehouse and we want to give what you call usage, operate, and something else, suspend, resume. We don't we want to give it to Shiva. You cannot do this in Snowflake. Okay, you can do this in Oracle, you can do this in other traditional databases, you can do this even in AWS, but in Snowflake you cannot, which is why it says it is based on 2 approaches: discretionary access control, that each object has an owner, and role-based access control. Okay, access privileges are going to be assigned to roles. These are the access privileges. I assigned it to a role, which in turn will be assigned to users, and which in turn we assign to these users. Okay, this is not permissible in Snowflake. Okay, not allowed. So this is a much better mechanism provided in Snowflake, guys. This is not allowed.
Abdul, I have a question. You mean to say that,
Yeah.
for example, I have a table which is owned by a user or a role?
Yes, I'm coming to that. Yes. Good question. I'm coming to that.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just coming to that. Okay, so this is the picture of access control framework, guys. An object, which is in this case that we are considering is a warehouse, you can give certain privileges to it on a role, and in turn role will give access to users, or it can give to some other role also. Okay, so for example, there's one more role, maybe don't know, you can say anything, maybe secondary ETL role, maybe, okay, or backup ETL role, whatever. So it can give to roles as well as users. So role can be given to a user and role can be given to a role also. Okay, so in this case, when you give a role to a role and say you have one more set of privileges here for a different warehouse, maybe, okay, say this is warehouse compute underscore 2, suppose, and you have the same set of privileges given to this role, this secondary ETL role, say usage and operate also. Okay, and you have that privilege is given to secondary ETL role. So when you give ETL, let me write this hierarchy. You give this ETL role to secondary role, right? So basically, whatever privileges ETL role has, that currently in this diagram, it has access of usage and operate on compute warehouse 1. That privileges will also be inherited by secondary role. Okay. And along with that, secondary role will have other set of privileges. So basically, secondary role can access warehouse 1 as well as warehouse 2. But ETL role can only access warehouse 1. Okay. So secondary role is basically inheriting ETL role. And you can have other privileges associated to this role also. Okay. Any questions on this before I move to Shiva's question?
It's okay for me, Abdul. This we can.
Okay. Okay. Okay, no problem. I am just moving ahead. If any question, just feel free to ask in between also. So yeah, this is nothing but what I just explained. Okay, say this is Shiva. I'm just coming to your question in a bit. So see, this is access flow in Snowflake, and it's nothing but what I just explained. See, this is the object warehouse. Okay, there is a role which owns them. So to answer Shiva's question, always the ownership is with the role, not the user. Never with the user. This is a thumb rule.
Yeah,
You
this is
might
in
get
contrast. Yeah, this is in contrast with traditional data.
yes,
Traditional data.
yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. This is in contrast with so many things of whether it's a CRM tool or traditional databases. Completely 360-degree change, right? So
Yeah, that is why the discretional access is unable to given to an user. It is only given to a role.
yeah,
Yeah.
right. So guys, thumb rule, always remember, ownership of any object that you create will be for the role. Okay, and we'll do demo also on that, and I'll show you. So please remember this. This is a very important point. Ownership, you can remember either way, that ownership is always with the role, or ownership is never with the user. Whichever is easy for you, remember that. Okay, so say this is an object. Warehouse object. Some role owns this. Then there is one more object which is database. Okay, so I just mentioned something called as securable objects a slide back here. Whatever, any entity in your account which can be given grants is nothing but a securable object. So securable objects are all your objects like users, databases, roles, warehouse, schema, table, view, all these are your securable objects, and you can give grants on them. Okay, so going back to our access flow, see, there are two objects, one is warehouse and one is database, right? And it is owned by, say, role 1. Then what they do is they give certain privileges on this warehouse and database to role 2 and role 3. Okay, so see what it has given. It has given privileges on warehouse to role 2 and role 3 also. See these arrows, role 2 and role 3. Okay, then privileges on database is just given to role 3, not to role 2. Okay, so basically role 2 can access warehouse only, and role 3 can access the warehouse also and the database also, whatever that database is or whatever that warehouse is. Okay, then in turn these roles are given to users. So role 2 is given to user 1 and user 2. Role 3 is given to user 2 and user 3. Okay, so by this logic, user 2, if you look at, he will be or she will be able to access both the warehouse and both the database, while user 1 can only access warehouse because it is associated to role 2, and role 2 can only access warehouse. Okay, and user 3 is associated to role 3, correct? And role 3 has access to both warehouse also and database also. So user 3 will also be, user 2 and user 3 both will be able to access warehouse and database, while user 1 can only access the warehouse because it is associated to role 2, which in turn is having privilege only on the warehouse. And who has given these grants? See, grants privilege on the object. So grant privilege, whatever privileges we want, these are the privileges on object. What is the objects? Warehouse and database to role. Okay, to role. And who has given this? Whoever has the ownership on these objects, he or she can only give to other roles or other users. Okay, so the ownership is with role 1, so he or she has given the necessary privileges to these roles. It could have been directly to users also, guys, like how this role is given to this user, right? Role 1 can do that also. It's not necessary that role has to give it to first another role, and that role will give to the user. Nothing like that. But this is just a picture of a sample access flow Snowflake has given. So you can directly give to the user also, like how this role is giving to the user, or you can give to a role also, role to role, that you can also do. So this is an overall picture of access framework. So Shiva, ownership is always with the role, whatever, no matter whatever object you create. And which role will it be associated to? That we will see just now. I will just show a demo here. Okay. So say, suppose I want to create a new database. Okay. I'm going to create it, and I will say test access uh, framework. Okay. We'll use this database for our demo purpose. And I'll say finish. So see, owner is sysadmin. So whatever role I have chosen here, that will become the owner. ABD31 Snowflake is not the owner. It is the user, okay? It is not the owner. It is the sysadmin, which is the owner. Let me go back to the worksheets and let me refresh it here. See, test access framework, I can see because I have chosen sysadmin here. If I choose some other role from the same user only, maybe say security admin. Sorry, I need to change this rule also. Why is it showing to this? Okay, it's not, now it's not showing to public. Now, if I change it to user admin role, that also it's not showing. If I change it to account admin, see, account admin is the most powerful, guys. Okay, so it can see anything. So this test access framework, it can see. And if I select security admin, that also can see. But if I try to say, it cannot do anything, guys, because it doesn't have access to warehouses. Okay, although it's able to see it, it doesn't have access to any warehouse. So anyway, so I'll tell you more about these roles, and then probably it will be more clear to you why it is being visible for security admin. But from whichever role you are currently locked in with, and you start creating your objects, that particular role will be given the ownership. Okay, so in this case, we just created one database here. Okay, uh, this is our database. Under this, say, we created one This is the database that we created, right? Test underscore access framework. And who is the owner? Sysadmin, because we created using the sysadmin rule. Okay, so this is the owner. Now to create tables under this, if we log in with uh, some other what you call roles, they will not be able to do that. Okay, unless sysadmin grants the privilege to create them or select them or whatever. Okay, so but let's see for account admin. If I log in with account admin, I'll use any warehouse. Let's let it be public only and say let's create table account admin. See, if account admin can do it. And see, the owner, if I hover over this database, it says owner is sysadmin. If you can see the third line, and then if I come to this public, it means it shows that my table owner is account admin because I created using that rule, right? So if I again change it to sysadmin now, see, although I am the owner of that database, but I cannot see that table under it. Okay, so this is not the right way to do it because account admins are not used to do creation of tables and all these objects. They are mostly for kind of giving privileges, looking at the account billing and all that. They are not used for creating objects and all. So in the next slide, we will see what each role, whatever this predefined role that come up with Snowflake, what are they associated with and what are their duties and responsibilities. So we'll just see that in the next slide shortly. Okay, let me drop this table. But this was to show you that any object that you create will be basically owned by that particular role that from which you have logged in or from which you have switched to. Okay, so before going to customize roles, what are the predefined roles given to us, and what is their what are they meant for? So see, upon initial setup, the following roles come pre-configured in Snowflake. Okay, we know that from day one, whenever from the time we created these accounts. So first is account admin. Account admin is an extremely powerful role. It has all the privileges of security admin and sysadmin. Okay, the role should only be used for initial setup of Snowflake. This role also can access billing information and visualize the resources used by each warehouse. Okay, so it basically inherits all the privileges of security admin and sysadmin, which is why it's most powerful, and it can see all the objects created by sysadmin or security admin as well because it inherits their privileges. Okay, so and it is also just used for seeing the billing information to access it and visualize the warehouse utilization. So if we go to our account admin, so you know that this particular account tab is visible only for account admin or for security admin, and this notification is specifically visible only for for account admin role. So here it can go and check the billing and usage and everything, whatever is required by the account admin. Okay, and for the initial setup to create some users or to do certain things like that, to give privileges, not to create users but to give privileges and all, that it can be used, right, for initial setup basically. So it should not be used for creating tables, although you can use it. I'm not saying you cannot. It is the most powerful role. It can do anything. But to maintain the hygiene, right, it is important that you follow the uh, steps that Snowflake recommends to you. Come to security admin. The security admin is responsible for users, roles, and privileges. Okay. all roles, users, and privileges should be owned and created by security administrator. So the roles and users that you will be creating in your Snowflake, they should be created by security admin. That is the task of security admin or responsibility. Okay. Then what is sysadmin? Sysadmin oversees creating objects inside Snowflake. Sysadmin is responsible for database, schemas, tables, and views. So related to databases and its objects, you should use sysadmin. Okay. And what is public? This is automatically granted to every user and role and is publicly available. That's the only privilege it has. It cannot do anything else apart from that unless you grant it, that it is granted to every user. Okay. So any user that I will create in future in my Snowflake, it will be given automatically this public role. Okay. And if I create any role also, automatically it will given a public role to it. All, and apart from that, it doesn't have any privileges, guys, as such. Okay. So like I mentioned, security admin, account admin basically inherits security admin and sysadmin. So if we look at this diagram here, the hierarchy, see, system defined role hierarchy. On the top is account admin. It inherits both security admin and sysadmin. And what are the privileges or responsibilities? Security admin is responsible for creating users and roles and privileges. Sysadmin is responsible for creating objects like databases, your schemas, tables, views, stages, file formats, and all that under it. And you can assign other custom roles here, okay, to the objects. These are your custom roles which you will create, which are not predefined. Okay, these are user defined roles. So whatever is inherited, so say you define a custom role like this, it will also be ultimately inherited by sysadmin and it will also be inherited by account admin. Okay, so whatever role you create a or database, that will be always visible to your account admin, no matter what. Okay, and at the bottom is your public. Okay, it doesn't have any privileges as such. So you see, there's no privileges or any responsibilities mentioned against it. Okay, so by default, this is given to every new user that you create and every new role that you create. Okay, so before taking questions, I will just do a demo here. So what it was said about security admin was that it can create roles, users, and give privileges, right? So let me go to security admin. Okay, and let me create one user. Create user ABD one. Okay, see, I just created a user called ABD1 Snowflake using security admin. Okay, and now if I go to accounts, it is at the account level, guys. We know that users and roles and all that are at account level, right? So if I go to account and go to users, see, I just created this, right? By default, it is given that login name, and it just got created some time back. And if I scroll further, who is the owner? Security admin. See, the owner is security admin. Okay, so now if I go and reset the password, okay, let me give some password here. Okay, I have reset the password, and here I have, if I go to the diagram again, I have created this row, ABD31 Snowflake, not the other two. We'll create it later, but just consider that I have created only one user right now. Okay. So now my question is, fine. I logged in with ABD31 Snowflake, correct? So now my question is to Venkat that I want to log in with ABD1 Snowflake, which I just created. Okay. And I reset some password also. Imagine you know the password and everything. I want to log in with this instead of ABD31 Snowflake. Okay. But for ABD31 Snowflake, I am using this URL. Correct. So how should I log in? How will I log in with this new user? So my question is to Venkat.
The URL will be same because it's come under the same account. Only the username you should give the ADB1 Snowflake, and then whatever the password your admin user creating, you should give the password. Since we are not given any role, default it will have a public access.
Okay. So Vinod, do you think that that is right or wrong?
I didn't get the question. Like, come again, Abdul.
Yeah, what I asked is right now on this URL, I am logged in with ABD31 Snowflake, correct? I just created one
Yes.
new user, ABD1 Snowflake. I just created this, right? So I want to log in with this user now. So which URL should I log in?
Yeah, we are under the same account, right? So
Yeah.
that account only we have to log.
Okay. What of Shiva? What do you think?
I also think the same. Abdul.
Okay. Adamukam, do you also think the same?
Yes, Abdul.
Okay. So yeah, very good, guys. You have understood the concept very well. So this user is under one account only, right? All these users. So the URL is related to account, not the user, right? So we can use the same account or URL and log in with any user created under that. So I am going to log in with the new user that I just created. Okay. Password is expired. Okay. Let me. Must be at least 8 characters. Okay, cool. So I have logged in with, this is the first time I've logged in with this user. That's why this is giving me all those pop-ups. So see, what did we see here while studying this? Or for the public user, public role, this is automatically granted to every user and role and is publicly available. So if this is a new role that user we created, right? So see, automatically it has got public and no other role is associated with. The predefined roles are only given to the first time user created while setting up the account. So you can consider it as a root account also or a root user, although there is no concept as such in Snowflake of root like you have in AWS and admin and sysadmin kind of concepts in uh, Oracle and all, right? So all that I don't call it, but the initial, I can also give all the privileges to this user later on from this ABD317 Snowflake. I will go here. I'll click here and here I can grant the other grants here. Okay, if I go to roles here, I can go to account admin and I can say edit grants. Okay, and I can say give it to ABD31 Snowflake account admin one. So I can give all of them later on to this. Okay. But those predefined roles are initially given to only the first user that we set up the first time. But for all the other users that we will create from now on, they will only have public role, default role, which has no privilege as such. Okay. And as you can see, it has been given privileges on DemoDB and UtilDB, and these are always what you call given to any role by default from Snowflake. Okay, this comes as default databases. So if I go to public, there's no tables, right? Although if I go here and see in the worksheets and see in my DemoDB, I have created certain tables here, right? So if I give access to any of one of these tables to public role, okay, let's see what happens. For example, let me go to databases here. Let me go to DemoDB. Okay, I'll take this EMP tables. So if you click on any of the table, right, it will always give you this pop up here on the side, and it will ask you to give privileges. If I go to this table, it will ask me to give privileges for that. Okay, if I double click, it will go off. Okay, so any object you go and click on that object, it will ask you to give grants, any object. And if you double click, it will go back. Okay, so say I want to give access on EMP basic, and I want to grant privileges. So say what kind of privileges? I just want to give select privilege. Okay, and I want to give it to public. Okay, grant. This means my public role can do a select on my on my EMP basic, which is in DemoDB. So if I go here now and if I refresh, see, I can do a select. So let me do a select. Will this give me any output? I mean, if there is no rows, it will give blank rows. If there are any rows, it will give rows, obviously. But will this work? Do you think this will work? Even though I have given a select privilege. And see, public doesn't have any privilege as such, okay? The first privilege I just gave it to it is that it can select EMP basic one on EMP basic one, which is in DemoDB. Okay, so but do you think if I fire this query, it will work? Okay,
you should select the warehouse.
correct. You have to select a warehouse, correct. So, but if I select a warehouse also, do you think it will work?
First, we need to assign, right, for that particular table, what is the warehouse?
Right. Correct. So I just told you, public has no privilege at all right now at this state of time. At this moment of time, it has got no privilege. The only privilege I just gave in front of you guys is it can have a select on this table. Correct? That is what I just gave here, right? Apart from that, there is no privilege right now at this point of time to public role. Just got nothing. So will this work? You guys are right. I mean, we have to select a warehouse, but does public role own any warehouse? See, does it own any warehouse? No, right? All the warehouses here in our, if we see from account admin perspective, all these warehouses, they are owned by sysadmin, account admin, sysadmin, right? So
there should be some default values, right?
Yeah, there is a default warehouse called compute warehouse. So guys, go to your respective warehouses, please. Can you click on your warehouses and tell me who is the owner of your warehouse? You have compute warehouse. This is the default warehouse which got assigned during your creation of account, right? Please tell me the owner. Sysadmin, right? For everyone, sysadmin, correct. Now, what did it say about public role here? this automatically granted to every user and role and is publicly available? Does it say it has got any privilege? Like for every role here, it said it has some privilege. For account admin, it has got privileges of both security and sysadmin. For
Yeah, Abdul, what I believe is right. So it
yeah,
should use a default warehouse.
yeah. So
And it should
listen,
allow.
listen. This is a default warehouse only given to by Snowflake, correct?
Yeah,
Who is the owner? Sysadmin,
sysadmin. Yeah.
correct? So what is the access control framework for the objects in Snowflake? Unless the owner gives any permission to other roles or users, until then that object cannot be used by others, correct? This is the access
Yeah.
control framework.
Yeah.
It's nothing what to do with default or anything. This is a default warehouse given. The owner is sysadmin. It has not given privilege yet to any role. Okay. So whether it is default object or not, is there a privilege right now for public role? No, right? It has not given. If I switch here to public, even though it is a default role, can I see it? Default warehouse? Can I see it? No, because the owner is sysadmin and it has not given privilege yet. See, there's no matter of being default warehouse or no. This is my default warehouse created by Snowflake. Suppose this is my default warehouse, okay? And when I see it, it says that the owner for this is your sysadmin role, correct? Sysadmin. So in this account, whichever role or whichever user will have sysadmin role, or to whoever sysadmin will give access on this compute warehouse, only that will be able to use it, correct? Apart from account admin, because account admin inherits all this. So account admin will anyway be able to see it. So right now in this current scenario, so yeah, although this is a default warehouse created by Snowflake, but it is a default warehouse created with the owner as sysadmin. You have to say this completely. Okay, you cannot just say it's a default warehouse created. The complete way of saying is default warehouse created with owner as sysadmin. This is the correct way to say. Okay. So right now, as per access control framework, unless on this object, the owner gives privileges to other role or user, it cannot access it. So which is why till now, sysadmin has not given access to my, if I go here to ABD31 Snowflake, to my public role. That is why I'm not able to see it. If I go here and change my role here, now I'm in the other user guys, ABD31, the main user, first time I created. So here I changed it to sysadmin and see I can see the compute warehouse. If I click here, it will say grant privileges. I'll go grant here. I'll say select privilege. What all privilege? I want usage and I want operate also, both. Okay. And I will go and say give it to public. And I'll say grant. I'll come here. See, now I'm able to see it because I granted it. It's nothing to do with whether it's either it's a default object or it is an object created by you. Ultimately, it's an object which needs to be given privileges on. Correct? Understood, guys? Any doubts on this?
So if that is the case, how so databases and public database and information schemas, right? The databases on information information schema on the databases by default to given to every public. That is what you mean to say. But this default warehouse, access to the default warehouse will not be given to public role unless we manually go and give it. It is something that there is no usage of creating a user name, right? Without giving the default warehouse access, right?
Yeah. Without default warehouse.
Abdul, is there any way that I can access restrict the user to log in? For example, the Oracle, there is a role, right? Connect role, login role. For example, even though there will be user, but if you want to log in and start using the Snowflake, there should be some role, a login role or connect role to be assigned to the particular user, right? Then only the user can able to log in itself. There is no such a role, right?
No, I'm not. No, honestly, I'm not aware of that. Let me see. Okay, guys. So if you want to look at the list of privileges, okay, there are hundreds and thousands of privileges in Snowflake. So just always go to. Anyway, I was going to come to this topic. So always go to Snowflake document and say all privileges. Okay, and you will see something called as all privileges. And here under this, at each object level, you can see what kind of privileges you can give. Okay, so if you want to know what all privileges I can give at user level, so if you go to user privileges, it will say monitor, grant ability to view the login history for the user, ownership, grant full control over a user or role, okay, or grant all privileges except ownership on the user. So these two privileges you can give on a user. So I don't see any thing like you're saying about Oracle, right? Like how we have this connect privilege.
Yeah,
There
yeah, yeah.
only
You know, right? In Oracle,
yeah.
unless connect role is given to specific user, he cannot log in.
Yeah. No, I have never seen anything in Snowflake. And
Okay, fine. Yeah.
also, if we look at this list of privileges that you can give, right? And in this also, I cannot see that. Okay. So guys, this is a very important Snowflake documentation part here. Any object related or total privilege related you want to see, like for example, if there's a table, okay. So what kind of privileges can I give on a table? See, table privileges. So if I go here, so on a particular table, what kind of privileges I can give? I can give select, insert, update, truncate, delete, references, ownership, and all means all will come except ownership. Okay. So if you want to know what kind of privileges you want on an object, go to this path and it will be a self-help for you also. Virtual warehouse, what kind of virtual warehouse privileges we can give is modify. So what does modify means? Enable altering any properties of the warehouse, including changing the size. Okay, so which means if you get modify privilege, you will be able to change the properties of warehouse. For example, uh, we have given what? We just gave usage, we just gave some privilege to public role, right? So let's see, let me change it, public. We had given a usage and operate role, right? I have not given any modification privilege to it. So see here, yeah, if I click here, see, I have given operate and usage. So what does operate and usage means? Operate means enables changing the state of warehouse. That is, it will be able to start, suspend, resume, as well as abort any executing queries. Usage means enables using a virtual warehouse and as a result execute queries on the warehouse. So unless you give a usage privilege, you will not be able to start a warehouse. Okay, so this is what it says. Usage means enables using a virtual warehouse. That means my public, when I give operate and usage access to this public role, now it is able to use this particular warehouse. So now I said I have not given the modify privilege, right? I have not given the modify privilege. So let me go and try to change and alter some property. Say for example, I'll say maybe what, change it to economy. Then okay, finish. See what it says: insufficient privileges to operate on warehouse. Okay, because I have not given modify privilege. Okay, so I have limited the privilege access to this particular role. Okay, but giving usage, I can start my queries now. Okay, so let me go and now let me see if I'm able to select it. Yes, I'm getting it right now. I can select demo DB, I can select public, and now let me fire it. There's no data here, but I can do it. Okay, I did not give create privilege also either on this. Okay, so guys, creating a table, where do you think that privilege will have to be given on? On what object level? See, this we just saw for the table, right? That select, insert, delete, update, all this is at table level, right? But suppose I want this public role to have create table also privilege, create table privilege also. So on what level I will have to give this privilege? What do you think?
What level? What is the question? You want to say which role?
See, I want to give this create table to public role. Okay. Right now it has only select privilege, correct? I want that public role should also be able to create tables in my demo DB and my public schema, correct? So I will have to give this create table privilege on some object, right? The privilege is always given on an object, and then that will be granted to a public, to whatever
It
role you
should be
want.
given to schema. It should be given to the schema.
Absolutely. So if you go here and see schema privileges, see, it has got create table. Because where are you creating the table? You're not creating the table on a table, right? You are creating a table on schema, under schema. So you need to have privilege on schema for creating table. Then only you can create a table under schema, correct? And to have access on schema, that is usage on schema, you need to have access on database also, right? If you don't have access on database only, how will you create a table? Correct? So we'll come to that later on. But yes, what I wanted to show you is that how you can create a user. We just saw how we can create a user. Default role given to any user from the second time onwards. That is not the first user that you've created during account creation. Default will be public only. Okay. And from there onwards, you can set up certain privileges that you want. Okay. And we also saw that from the privilege, from the predefined roles, what are the respective responsibilities? Account admin has the privileges of security and sysadmin both, and it is mostly for the initial setup of Snowflake and also for accessing billing information and compute warehouse monitoring. Security admin is basically for creating roles, users, and privileges. Then sysadmin is for creating objects, database objects, schemas, tables, and views. And your public, it is a default role given to any user which is created newly and a role. And apart from that, it has not got any privileges unless you decide to give it. Okay. And this is the hierarchy we just saw. Okay. So any questions till here before we move on?
Abdul, this is Venkat.
Yeah.
So I have a question actually. Say normally in on-premise server, right? So based on IP, with the VPN, they'll do some restriction actually. Is this possible in the cloud actually? For example, if you take my company, they will have some default IP. The last one, 161, 162. These will be assigned to my company VPN or something, so that outside VPN they will not access the server or data. So this is one kind of restriction actually. Without VPN, we're not able to access outside data from our company. So is there a kind of setup in the cloud also? You can do it.
Yeah. So that is basically your virtual private editions. So you have four kind of editions, right? Standard, business critical, enterprise, and virtual private, all that. So basically, you're talking about the network restrictions, right?
Mm.
So there's certain thing called as network policies. through that also you can do. So for example, you have this, that's another subject, but I will show you under the account schema, under the account role only, account admin role. If we go here, account. So there's something called as policies, this network policies. Okay, so you can do it from here.
Okay.
Like name of your policy, which IP addresses allowed, which are blocked, and all that.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. Okay, but it is not related to users and roles. Okay, it is just a network restriction.
Yes.
Okay, so
And other thing is that can account admin can be assigned to a multiple user. Is that possible in Snowflake?
account admin.
Yes.
Yeah. So say for example, I just created this ABD1 Snowflake right now, right? So if I am currently logged in with a user which has account admin role associated to it. Okay, this is the first user that we had created. So from here, from this only, if I go to this ABD31 Snowflake, and if I say where is the grants? Okay, I need to go to roles, not from user, guys. I need to give role to the users. So if I go and say account admin, edit grants, and give it to ABD1 Snowflake. This is the one I just created. Okay, ideally you should not do this. Okay, because account admin is a very powerful role, right? It should not be given to anybody. Only those admin guys and those guys should be having this. But let's say consider this is our admin guy only. So I have now from here I am saying grant this account admin role to ABD1 Snowflake. So I'll say save. Okay, and if I go to my ABD1 Snowflake to which I just granted, and I refresh it. So see, and now I am able to see account admin, but I am able to see other roles also. Why do you think I am able to see these roles, the other ones?
Because account admin is the top most, so it inherits other properties also.
Right. So it is, see here, this hierarchy diagram, if you see, it inherits all this, sysadmin, security admin, and all this. Okay. So if I have given it account admin, so by default, the other roles are also, you are able to see. So this is a very powerful role. So you should be very careful giving it to a specific team of people, right? Otherwise, you can see the risks involved here, right? So I'll go and similarly you can revoke also. You can go and remove this user, save. It doesn't have the privilege anymore. And if I go here and if I refresh it, from whom did I remove? Okay, I think I removed it from some other. UPT3 was not like it there is. Save. Okay, it's gone. So I revoked it also. So this way you can give any role. It's not there's no restriction as such. But obviously depending on your project and what are your access control protocols, depending on that you have to assign to respective teams. Okay, so as you can see, any object that I'm creating, even a warehouse, if I'm creating, it is the owner is that particular role. For example, now I am in this user ABD31 Snowflake and I am in a public role, right? So I'll create one warehouse here. Okay, say this is public warehouse, right? I'll drop it also later on. I'm just showing for demo. And I say created it. See, it says insufficient privileges to operate on account level. So so privileges given on account level, guys, are called as global privileges. Okay, so where will you, so we just saw that while creating a table, we need to give access or grant on schema level, correct? So similarly, to create a warehouse, we need to give access on an account level, right? Because warehouse is created under account, correct? So we have to give access on account level, and that is called as global privileges. So if you go to global privileges, you will see something called as create warehouse. So this is not given to public. So as we can see from the presentation, this public guy, this public role, it is just a default role given to every user and any role. Okay, but and it doesn't have its own privileges at all. It doesn't have any privileges of its own. Okay, and now see, for security admin, what it says, it is responsible for creating users roles and privileges, which means by default Snowflake has given this privileges on the account level to security admin. See, for account level, user privilege must be there, right, for creating user or something. So if we go here, this is my account level privileges or global privileges. See, it has got create user, create role, right? So by default, Snowflake has given security admin these privileges, which is why it is able to do and create users and roles, right, for security admin. And this user that we had created just now, we had created using security admin only, right? See, this first user ABD1 Snowflake, we had created it using security admin. So now, as per the slide, it says sysadmin should be creating databases, schemas, and all. So ideally, it means that it might not be able to create user because it is not mentioned here about that privilege. So let's try to change the role and try to create user from here. But on the very first hand, this particular tab only will not be visible to create the user. Correct? If I change from here to sysadmin or security or any other role apart from account admin and security admin, I will not be able to see this tab only. So from where will I create user also? See, if I make it sysadmin, so that tab is not coming. So from where should I create the user? Although there is syntaxes available, you can do it from SQL command also. So we'll try that also. Let me change it to say sysadmin and say create user. Okay, I am in this sysadmin role. Okay, create user will be created. See, insufficient privileges to operate on account. Correct? Because it is an account level privilege. So if I go and give that privilege to sysadmin, it will allow it to create. Okay, but I will not do that because it is about maintaining the hygiene, right? We can give an access to this sysadmin. Okay, I can go to account admin. I can change it. I can change account admin role here. Okay, and I can go and give that grant to sysadmin. I can do that. Okay, so guys, this is something which you have to be careful of, like to give grants to which particular user and roles. So it is very important. So conceptually, you should understand the flow of your access control framework in Snowflake. Roles, or rather objects, are owned by roles. Then you can give certain privileges on other roles or other users. An object is never ever owned by a user. Never. Okay. So before we take a small break of 10 minutes, any questions till what we have seen now? After this, we will continue with roles and grants and all that in a little more detail. Okay. So any questions on this currently for the current topic we just learned about? Okay. So guys, let's take a 10-minute break and I will be back. Okay. And then we'll proceed further.
Okay.
Hi everyone, I'm back. I hope everybody else is back now. Okay, any doubts or questions you came across during the break? Okay. So guys, I am audible, right? We can proceed.
Yes, audible.
Yes.
You can proceed.
Okay, thank you. Okay, right. So guys, let's start creating certain roles, users, privileges, and all that. So we saw that we can create all this stuff from the web UI also. We just saw that, right? And you can do that through SQL commands also. Okay. So see, you can create a new role or replace an existing role. After creating roles, you can grant object privileges to the role and then grant the role to other roles or individual users to enable access control security for objects in the system. Okay. So you can create a role and then after creating, you can give certain grants to it or privileges, object privileges, and then in turn, you can assign that role to some other role or to individual users also. And what is the uh, syntax to do that is create or replace role if not exist. And then with tag, this is just a tag that you're giving to it, and comment, any comment that this role is specifically for development team or production support team, that kind of what you call comments you can give. So let's try to maybe create one role. Okay. So I have some scripts, guys. We'll use that. So let's create one role called dev underscore role maybe. And we should do that always. We can do it through account admin also because it anyway is the powerful role and can do any stuff. But the right way to do is by using security admin, right? To create roles, users and all that. So let's go with security admin and we will create a dev role. Create role dev role, okay? And see guys, I had told you in the beginning when we were doing about the warehouse deep dive, when we were doing that, I told you it's not necessary to give warehouse always. So see here, I did not have to give any warehouse, right? So for certain context related objects when you're creating, you don't need to do that. So I just created a dev role, guys. And if we now go and check the accounts tab through account admin also we can go, through security admin also we can go. So I'll go through security admin. I go to see it says not authorized to manage the specified objects. So not all of these are available. Only certain tabs will be available to security admin. So if I go to users, yeah, and roles. Sorry, I just created a role, right? Yeah, see, I just created a role called dev role. Okay. Now, what can we do with the dev role we have created? This is a step one. We just created a role, right? Created a role, dev underscore role. Now, what we'll do is we'll create a database called devdb, maybe, and we saw that such database objects and all, they should be created by sysadmins, right? That's what we saw. So we'll go and create a new database called devdb through sysadmin. Okay.
So don't we have to give the before we go to create database? Do we have to give the warehouse access to this role?
If you want to create database through that role, that dev role,
Database can be created by any role, but once you create the role,
no, it cannot be created by any role. if I go to say what, Mm, security admin.
No, it can be created by account admin or the system admin.
Right.
Yeah, I understand that. So yeah, you proceed. Yeah, you proceed. Sorry, I thought we have to give the access to the warehouse after we create the user. The next step that you asked, right?
Yeah. So for certain things, you don't need a warehouse. Like, for example, you don't need a warehouse to create a role. Okay, so that's why there was no compute warehouse that got started, right? It did not start when I created a, say if I create one more role, or maybe I'll replace only, create or replace. See, there's no red button, red signal that came. It's simply, if I don't even say, okay, it has got access to this compute warehouse by default, from when I created that sysadmin, when I created this account, right? So default access was given to all these roles here. So, but it did not start, if you can see this, right?
Abdul, this is Venkat. So, what is the functionality of replace in the Snowflake, Abdul? See, basically, if I have some roles, if I put a replace, it should throw error, right? Because existing role might have some property, it should not get replaced, right? So, what is the role of replace in Snowflake actually?
Yeah. So this replace is always there in even in traditional databases, right? So, for example, uh, if you want to add certain more privileges, okay, and you want to replace it completely, and say this particular role was given to a lot of users, user one, comma user two, and all that. So if you do a create or replace, this will not be this role will be intact to these users. Okay, that so if I want to increase the privileges level on this, you can do that by granting more privileges also, but at maybe you want to do it from the scratch. Okay, so maybe at that time, if you create or replace, it will still be associated with these users. So you don't have to basically drop the role and then recreate and then assign the new privileges. You don't have to do that. If you drop it, then this attachment or this link with user association will go off, right? So for that purpose, you say create or replace, basically.
Okay. So my understanding, I think no, maybe in my SQL, I think it's not there, but it may be in case any addition is there, it will automatically get added. So already, if existing property will remain same, if we are adding anything additional, maybe it get up and that. That's my repulse function. I think.
Yeah, you can additionally also give grants later on if you find out, okay, this dev role needs additional grants. That also you can do separately, okay. But if you want to do it from scratch, maybe create or replace the whole thing, that also you can do from the beginning. But in that case, this association with the roles, the users that you have associated that role with will be intact. Okay. So for example, you might have seen create or replace procedure, right? In SQL Server or Oracle. You must have come across this, create or replace. So what happens on a procedure, you always give execution grants, right? Execution grants to say dev role, suppose. That means your dev role can execute this procedure. Okay. Now, say later tomorrow you want to do certain changes here, add some more logic here. Okay. So that time, how do you compile it? You don't say create procedure with that name. You don't say drop procedure and then create it. You just say create or replace, right? In that time, you don't have to go and again give exclusively these grants to them, because if you do a create or replace, these grants will be still intact.
No, what I'm trying to tell, see, in SQL also, when I create a procedure, for example, I written logic and create a procedure with a name like Tamil Bhumi, and then no, you are creating the same procedure. When you try to create, no, it will throw error. already existing. If you want to alter, you will alter. So what you will think, okay, somebody has written with logic, I don't want to alter. So I might go for another SPM like Tamil Bhumi underscore one. So like that, I'm asking, if I put a replace, I would not know if it already existing or not. It may no replace the others role, what are their attributes. That's why I'm asking.
Okay, yeah. So
I,
if you do a create or replace role on a existing role, which is your dev role, and it is already existing, but you are doing it, you don't know that this role is existing, and you go and fire this command. So obviously it will overwrite all that.
but it should be wrong actually. Maybe it should not be because if somebody has same role and with this lot of attributes, I'm going to start and it may replace. So everything will go from starting. It will come the same.
Yeah, I mean, same is the case with if I say if I don't say, I mean, you are saying don't say create or replace. You're saying create, just say create.
Hmm.
You're saying like this, right?
Yes, yes.
Yes, but that is
So
not.
if already available, it will throw error actually. It's already available actually.
Yeah. So this will, for example, we just created this, right? So it will say already exists. I agree with that.
Hmm.
But the reason to give or replace, see, Snowflake has given, and even your uh, Oracle also has this or replace. Okay.
Okay,
So
I'm not
there's a
okay.
specific,
Hmm.
yeah. So there's this create or replace in procedures and all that, if you see in Oracle. So this
Hmm.
is
Hmm.
meant given with certain reason. I mean, it's not that you should not use it because of getting overriding something, but you should be aware of this object. Then only you should use it, and that is given for some other purpose. Like I said, it should be whatever link it has with other objects. Like it is given to some procedures or users or something. It should not break that link. So in that case, you don't want to drop that role, and you can just say create or replace that role. Okay, so but this is given by Snowflake. So what you are saying is correct only if you want to, if you go and create this role from scratch, and this is already existing, you don't know about this role, but you are going to create it with the same name. So obviously this will create a problem. That is correct. You are whatever you're saying. So in that case, if you do like this, you will know, okay, this is already existing. But that or replace
Hmm.
has to be used only when you know that this role is there, and I am adding some additional responsibilities or privileges to it.
Yes, yes.
Or
Okay.
else you don't have to use it. Although the option
Yes,
is
yes.
given in Snowflake.
Okay.
Okay, so yeah. So yeah, we moving forward. So I just created this role, right? First step, we created this role. Okay. And what we'll do is we'll create a database. So we will go and here we need to change that role. Correct? Suppose you want to create from dev role only, you want to create databases. So if I go here, switch role, see, you're not able to see that role here. Correct? Because we have not granted that role yet to the user. We have just created it. Correct? So say, sorry. Now I want to go and grant it to the user. So again, I will do it from security admin only. So what is the syntax for that? Grant. Let me see the syntax, guys, or I might have it here also. Yeah. So grant role, dev role to user this. Now I've granted it. Right? So if I go and see here now, to refresh. See, now I am able to see the dev role. Let me switch it to dev. Okay. Now my question is to Shiva. See, I just switched to dev role. Okay. And all the other databases I had created with some other owner roles like sysadmin, account admin, and whatever, they have gone rightly so they have gone, correct? It's not visible to me. The only demo DB and util DB is available to me. So my first question is, why is this available? I never gave grants to dev role to be visible for it. Or even when it has been given, when I'm able to see it, I can only see the employee basic table. There were so many other tables here, right? If you remember, but I'm just seeing one. So why is this?
So upon creation of the user, public role has been automatically assigned. So you
Very
created
good.
the empty basic table and given the access to the public. And if you see all the slide that you were showing, right, public user will have access to the default databases and schemas.
Yes, very
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
Yes. So guys, as soon as we created a dev role or any role or any user for that matter, see what it says. This is automatically granted to every user and role. So this got automatically granted a public role. Okay. And by default, demo DB, util DB, Snowflake sample data, this is all available to all the roles upon creation of your account. By default, it is available to all. And when we created one more user here, this ABD1 Snowflake, it was by default given again public role, right? And then we gave this public role select access on employee basic, right? We had given select access on public role. So now since this inherits public role, it will have all the privileges of public role. Hence, we are able to see this table as well. Okay, and now if I do a select on that, what is it saying? Okay. See, it's able to access. I did not give any exclusive privilege to dev role, right? In front of you only I created this, I gave grant to that user and I did a select directly because inherently it inherited public role, which was having access to demo DB, util DB, and this sample data DB, and we just gave select privilege on employee basic also, which is why it inherited. So this thing which we were talking about, this inheritance, role user, roles, this one. And if we go and look at from the diagram also, see, this is imagine this is a custom role we created, this custom role, okay, which is your dev role. Dev role is a custom role only, right? That we created. And by default, it has a public role access. See this, correct? So that is why we were able to see those databases and nothing else. And I think we gave access to warehouse also to public role, right? So if we go to warehouses, we'll be able to see compute warehouse also because we gave this access also. Any doubts? Is it confusing or any doubts here? Okay, good. My earlier batch actually, they had a lot of confusion in this access control framework because it is a little bit different from the traditional access framework we look at and we learn, right? A little different, but yeah, good that you guys are understanding it. So I created this dev role, okay, and it inherited public role. Now I granted this role to my user. Snowflake. Okay, so if I go to my other user, this ABD1 Snowflake, if you see, it's not there with him. Okay, cool. Now, what we want is, we want to create a database from dev role. Okay, ideally we should not do that. We should do by sysadmin. But let's see. I'm here. Let's create dev. See, it says insufficient privileges to operate on account. What are we trying to do, guys? We're trying to create database. And create database privilege should be on what level? Account level, because database comes under account category. I mean, under the account level. So if you go to access control privileges, here, see, this is my global privileges, right? I told you global privileges is nothing but your account level privileges. So if you see here, there's a create database, what do you call privilege. And what does it do? It enables creating a new database or create a clone of an existing database, okay? And must be granted by sysadmin role or higher. So who can grant this role, privilege to my dev role is sysadmin role or higher role. And higher role is nothing but your accountant. And if we go back to our slides here and see the responsibilities of each role, sysadmin is the role which oversees creating objects inside Snowflake. Sysadmin is responsible for all databases, schemas, tables, and views, right? So which is why it says database privileges should be given by sysadmin if you want to give. And obviously, it already has those privileges. Only then can it give to other roles or users, right? And yeah, so what we'll do is we will not create using a dev role. We'll create using sysadmin role. We'll maintain the hygiene. So let me go and switch it to sysadmin. And here I will create devdb. Okay, created devdb. Let me go to worksheets and see. I am in dev role. And if I refresh it, I still cannot see it because I am not given access to see it. Correct? Now I will give privileges on database to see it. Okay, give privileges on devdb to dev underscore role. Okay, and who can give this? Either sysadmin can give or either a higher role. And anyway, sysadmin is the owner of that database, so it can anyway give it because I created this database with sysadmin role, right? So it became the owner. See here, right? So now let me go and give privileges. So see what kind of privileges. If we now we are going to give privileges to dev role on database level. So let's go and see what are the different database privileges. We can say modify, okay? So it can do alterations on database. It can monitor it. For example, it can perform describe commands and all that on database. Usage enables using database. Additional privileges are required to view or take actions on in a database. So enables this, if we give usage, it will enable to use a database. That means you can only see the database. You will not be able to create anything under it. So if we go and say give usage, okay. So say grant usage database dev underscore db to role dev underscore role. Okay, and that can only be given by sysadmin, right? So let me open one more worksheet and have this is sysadmin already and devdb. So I'm giving usage on database devdb to dev role. Okay, now let me go back to my dev worksheet, refresh it, see I'm able to see it. Open it. I am not able to see the public schema. Information schema is just read only. We all know that. So anyway, it cannot do anything. Public schema is the schema where it can do stuff, where it can do create tables and all that. It doesn't have that. So I want it to see that schema also. So again, I will, to see that schema, I'll give grant usage on schema public to dev role on schema 2. Okay, given. Let me go back.
Abdul, actually, you are viewing from the sysadmin itself. You need to switch on to dev role, right? Whether you are able to use or
Yeah,
not.
so this is dev role only.
Oh, okay.
I have opened 2 worksheets, one for sysadmin and one for dev role.
Okay.
Okay, so I just gave this usage on schema public to role, dev role. So what does usage mean? If you go to schema level, see usage enables using a schema, including executing show schemas, commands to list and all, but you will not be able to create objects as such. You can, if you want to see some properties of schema, you can, I am in dev role, you can say show schema public. Okay. Show yeah. So you can see the show schemas. You can fire that command once you have the usage privilege. But if you want to, from here you can select it also now, dev db and public. Okay. Earlier you were not able to do this because you did not have usage access. Now I am inside it. Let me try to create and see. There is nothing as of now here. Okay. Let me try to create a table from the dev role. Create table dev underscore db. See, insufficient privileges. Okay, so you have to give access to create tables also. So I will go and give access of creating table. Okay, grant create table on schema only to dev underscore role. Done. I will now create that table. Guys. Create table dev underscore table. See, dev table got created by dev role. So now if I open it and refresh it, see who is the owner. Owner is the dev role. Okay, owner is the dev role, guys. Now, if I go to sysadmin, refresh it, see, I will not be able to see it. I am from sysadmin because it is not the owner of that table. So whoever creates, whichever role creates that particular object, it becomes the owner, and it is up to that particular role to give access on the other roles. But if I change it to account admin, but I can see it. Okay, because account admin is the most powerful role, and you can also understand it from the hierarchy. See, I created a dev role here, somewhere here. Okay, and this is inherited with account admin. See, it is going up. It is going up, 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 and it is automatically inherited by account admin. Okay, so it is basically it's whatever privileges it has on a particular object of its ownership, account admin can also see and do that. So do things on that. Okay. So for example, say account admin wants to say alter one more column, add one more column on that table. Alter table. Okay. I've never done this. I'm just trying an experiment. tab. But guys, ideally we all read that account admin should not be doing this stuff. Okay. Alter table, add column C2 now. See, it can see it, but it cannot do anything on it. It has given only the usage privilege on it. So drop, maybe I'll try to drop it also. Can't, even from account admin. But if I try to do it from its owner, obviously it was able to alter, right? So let's see if I try to do a select here. It can't. So it shows you this point, this DAC. Each object has an owner who can in turn grant access to that object. Okay, so there is just a usage privilege given to account admin. Even account admin is not able to do any other stuff on it. So if I go and create, say, one more table by using the dev role, okay. Underscore one. Okay. I created it. You can see two tables now. I'll go and change it to, first I'll change it to sysadmin. Okay, refresh. See, I had not given privileges to sysadmin, so you're not able to see anyway. But if I change it to account admin and refresh, I can see both the tables. But I will not be able to do anything on them. If I say preview data, it will say insufficient. Preview data is nothing but select, right? So insufficient privileges. So that is how it works. Fine. So what we have done is we have created a dev DB. We have created a dev DB and owner is sysadmin. Then sysadmin gave create table grants to dev role. So now dev role can start creating tables under my dev DB also. And it also gave privileges on schema. Because without schema, it will not be able to create, right? Create privileges on schema also. Say if I go and revoke the of usage if usage privilege from dev role, it will not see the schema only. It will not, this public schema will not be visible only, even though it has created the tables. So let me go and revoke it. So revoke is also same syntax, just instead of grant, it is revoke. And instead of to, it will be from. Revoke usage on schema public from this one. Okay, I have revoked it. See, I can't see. Even though I have created those tables, I can't see it. I gave it back. Okay, so now we have it back. Okay, cool. So this is how we created a role. We created a role, we granted objects privileges on them, and then we gave to individual user also. All right, not necessary in that order, but we did all these steps. Any doubts, guys, before I proceed to the next? Okay. So let's come to grants. I will explain you the concept of how to give grants. Okay, because see, you can see so many privileges out here. Thousands of privileges are there. Each object has certain privileges. See, so many objects. If you go under each object, you will get so many privileges under them. Okay, it's not possible to go and see each privilege, but I will tell you the concept overall, like how you can go and find out which privilege you want to give in a very easy way. Okay, so let's see what grants are. I mean, we already know it, but I'll just read it for refreshing our memory. So grants one or more access privileges on a secureable object to a role. Okay, so see, grant of an object. Okay, please focus on what I'm saying. Grant on an object is always given to a role. It is never given to a user. Okay, so if I go and say, go to my worksheet again, and I say, okay, grant usage on this database to my user. Okay, say user AVD31 Snowflake. See, it will give you error. There's nothing like that. Okay, so grant on a particular object can never be given to a user. It has to be given to a role only. And this you can reiterate from this also. See, the privilege on or a grant, privilege is nothing but a grant, right? So granting or the privilege to an object is given to a role. It can never be given to a user. Although in traditional databases and all, you can do that. That is the main difference, guys, in Snowflake, which is quite good. I mean, you are restricting so much of security and access, and you are getting rid of so many security pitfalls, right? So yeah, the privileges that can be granted are object specific and are grouped into following categories. Okay, so each object has certain kind of grants. So for example, for table, we can have select, insert, update. We cannot have the same kind of grants for warehouses, right? Select warehouse, update warehouse, because warehouse is a object entirely separate, uh, which is a separate kind of uh, activity it does. And tables is something separate. It is meant for storage purposes. So you're retrieving data, doing day-all operations. So depending on the kind of operations you do on a particular object, you give privileges like that, right? So you have different categories: global privileges, then privileges for account objects. Global privileges are nothing but privileges on the account level. Okay, then you have privileges for account objects. So what all comes at the account level: monitors, virtual warehouses, databases, etc. Correct. Then you will have privileges on schemas. Schema comes under database. Then you will have privileges for schema objects, that is table privileges. You will have view privileges, stage privileges, whatever comes under schema objects. And same syntax is applied for revoke as of grant. So instead of grant, you can say revoke, and instead of to, you can say from. But it does only the thing it does is vice versa. It removes the access. That's all. I mean, this is all known to you. I mean, because you all have gone through this earlier also. So let me explain a little on this, although I did touch upon this some time back. So if we go to all privileges, let me also give this on the chat for you guys. Anytime you want to go for all privileges, you can use this link. So it has divided the various kinds of privileges. So this all privileges means all these, all this global privileges and all that. So here, when it says global privileges, it is the privileges that you can give on the account level. So this is your global privilege. So if you go to global privilege, what all can we do? We can create a user, because a user comes under account level, right? We can create a role, we can create a warehouse, we can create a database, and so many things. Then it says privileges for account objects. So what comes under accounts? Warehouses, users, roles, all that comes under account level, right? So on that level, what kind of privileges can you give? So what comes under account level? User comes, roles come, resource monitor comes, virtual warehouses comes, right? So what kind of privileges you can give on a user? So you can give monitor, ownership, and all that. Or what kind of privileges can you give on a role, on your ownership? Okay. So what kind of privileges can you give on a warehouse? You can modify, monitor, we saw operate, usage, right? Or what kind of you can give on a database? Yeah. So we just saw usage. And if you want to create a schema under a database, so you need to give a create schema privilege. For example, right now we created this role, dev role, right? But if I give access to public, because this is an already default created schema. Every time we create a database, we have a default schema created called public. So it anyway exists, but we did not have usage privilege on dev role. So that's why it was not able to see it. Once we gave the usage privilege, it was visible to it. But say we want to create our own schema from the dev role, like say create a schema called dev underscore schema. Sorry, it was on the account admin tab, guys. Sorry. So yeah, let me go to the other worksheet where I am connected with dev role. Okay. And guys, you can always use this use role dev underscore role also. If I say change this and I say sysadmin, okay, and I say use role dev role, so it will change it to dev role. Okay. And now say I want to create schema called test schema. See, it says insufficient privileges, right? Now, if I go and give database level, I'll give create schema. And on the database level, who can give access? Sysadmin and higher, right? So let me change to use role sysadmin and grant what kind of privilege? Create schema on what? On database field, because schema you create under database. Which database? Dev underscore DB. To which role? Dev role. Okay, given. Let me go back to dev role and now create a schema. I refresh. See, dev schema is created. Okay, so account level object privileges will be all those objects which come at account level, which is nothing but your resource monitors, virtual warehouses, database, roles. So that hierarchy slide we have right here, from there you can see what comes under account level. Then privileges for schemas. Okay, so so we will create a table on schema level, right? Like how in public we created these tables under schema public, right? So for that we had to give this create table command. Grant create table on schema public to dev role. So if we go and look at all privileges here and we search for schema privileges, so see all the kind of privileges that you can give. So we gave two, usage and we gave create table. Correct? We gave these two privileges to dev role, which is why it was able to you see the schema also and create also. If we don't give usage, and we just give create table, still it won't work because this will not be visible only for you. Usage means you need to get started with it. And then after that, you have to give the other privileges. Okay. So then privileges for schema objects, for tables. For example, if you want to see the table or select a table or insert, update, do DML operations and other stuff. So if you want to see privileges for schema level objects, here you can go and see at whatever objects are come under schema. So tables come under schema, views come under schema, stage comes under schema, file formats come under schema. So if I go to table privileges, see, select, insert, update, truncate, delete, and all this, it can be given. Correct? Yeah. So there is some more stuff left. Maybe we'll cover that in the next weekend. So I'll stop here, guys. Any questions till now? We can discuss. There's some little stuff remaining that I will cover in the next class. Maybe in initial half an hour, 1 hour, I will do that, and then we can start with other topic. So other topic is resource monitors. So yeah. So any doubts still here? Remember the thumb rule. User doesn't own anything, and any direct privilege cannot be given to a user in Snowflake. Remember this thumb rule, and then your concept will be very clear. Any doubt, anything? Did you find it confusing, or is it? It's okay. You can grasp it. Just feel free to ask. Guys, I am audible.
I'm
Right?
good. Yeah, you're audible. I'm good. Only thing I find some quantity is that system admin do not have access if they another role creates some table actually. So
Yes,
normally
yes.
system
So
admin should have the access, but maybe Snowflake is not giving. Little bit that's a quantity actually.
see, the Snowflake approach, right? The approach is based on two models, guys. Discretionary access control also, don't forget this, although we tend to just forget this sometimes, and role-based access also. So discretionary access control means whichever role has created this, either it's a public role which has created it, sysadmin, account admin, or a new role that you created, whoever creates an object, that particular role becomes the owner. The other roles cannot do anything on that. Okay, this is the model which Snowflake works on. Okay. Venkat, does it answer your question?
Yeah, it's answer, but just I'm telling, just a little bit of contradictory from other system. So
Okay,
normally,
okay.
see, any role, if I create a customized role, it's kind of a user only. They are going to work for my data. That's all. If they are going to import some sales data, they are going to import the sales data. But all the access or no. Admin should have in this admin to control these users. That way I'm telling a little bit. That was a contradictory
Okay.
from other system.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So there is certain differences in traditional, databases and applications also. So Snowflake has made it a bit tighter, basically, following this model. And one more. So yeah. So it's you're done with your question.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
done now.
Okay. Just one last thing I want to show you guys before we wind up. Okay. Now see, guys, I have created this dev role. Okay. I created this dev role. I created some tables, some schemas using that role. Correct? Let me change it to dev role. Yeah. Refresh it. See, dev schema I created. See, owner is dev role. You can see that, right? And these two tables, they are also the owner is dev role. Now, what I do is I decide. Let me change it to sysadmin. So what I do is I decide to drop this role altogether. Drop role. Okay, I'm going to drop this role, guys. So what do you think should happen to these objects which dev role had created? Arumugam, would you like to try something? I mean, I'm not looking for right answer. I can understand you might not be giving the right answer for this, but let's just think. I mean, what might happen?
Is that possible to drop a role when they have objects being created on that role?
Yes, you can.
Then the tables might become invalid, I think so, but I
Okay.
might be wrong.
Yeah, that is fine. That is absolutely fine. I understand. You might not get a really right idea of this. but I'm just trying to see the thinking, like what you guys think.
Yeah, the access might go to the system admin if something or they tell us orphanage table or something. If that is the case, I think it may go for a sysadmin.
Okay,
No,
so you're saying,
what I believe is all these objects belongs to this role should also be dropped.
okay. So Venkat, you are saying the ownership should go to sysadmin, right?
Yes.
Okay, so Shiva said they also should get dropped along with this role, like cascading, cascading effect that happens, right? Then Arumugam said that they might become invalid. Without any inputs from you?
I think it should go to the next hierarchical role.
Okay,
Sorry,
so
the
so
next hierarchy.
some other role should become the owner. That's
Yes,
same
yes,
like Venkat that you're saying, right?
yeah, but
Okay.
I'm not exactly sure whether it will be a sysadmin or not. Yeah.
Okay, no problem. That is not a problem. Okay. Insufficient privileges. Okay, no problem. Changing the role. Okay, guys. I have dropped the role, okay, using account admin. Okay, guys. I'll refresh it. If I go here, that role is gone. If I go to this worksheet, this role doesn't exist anymore. Okay. If I say use role doesn't exist, cool. Sys, I'll make it sys admin. Okay, this session itself is not active. Okay, let me close it. Very good. Okay, refresh. Dev DB is there. Yeah. Dev schema is also there. And those tables are also there. Okay. Let's see what has happened to them. See, account admin has become the owner. See, account admin has become the owner. See, account admin has become the owner. Okay. So if you drop a role, the objects belonging to that role, they get owned by account admin. So Venkat and Vinod were right. I mean, obviously, your conceptual thinking was right. What would happen? No matter that is not a problem. If you said it goes to sysadmin or some other role, that is absolutely fine. But conceptually, you were right that the ownership will automatically get transferred to someone. In this case, it gets transferred to the highest role in Snowflake, which is account admin. Okay, and guys, this is also asked in certification.
And this is same like in WhatsApp also, Abdul. Actually, if I'm admin of some group, if I'm getting exited, whoever joined next to me will become the default admin actually.
Okay, yeah. That's so yeah, same concept uh, is followed here because see, guys, what happens? There might be so much of millions of datas that has gone into this, tables, and maybe there is some security breach that happens. Something has happened where you are, uh, some user which maybe say hundreds of users have the same role, and there is some security breach happened, and some users are doing something mischievous. Okay, so instead of finding out those and seeing that, you decide to drop that role altogether for the time being. And after you do your research and all, you will see which users have done that. But as an immediate effect, even when you lose a card, as an immediate effect, what you do, you say, okay, deactivate the card. Okay, you won't wait till the new card is issued to you. Immediate step you will do is, deactivate it. Nobody should be able to use it. So no matter if there are 10 users who have one role, some of them have done some mischievous activities, that you will say immediately drop that role. We'll see whoever has done it later. But for the security breach, let's immediately drop that role. So those millions of data, obviously it cannot be dropped, right? It's not correct to do that. So this ownership for the time will go for the your account admin, and you can transfer this ownership later on also to the other role. So I have not seen how to transfer it, but let's see if we can do that. And okay, transferring ownership will be then on. If you go to schema privileges, say ownership. Okay, for that I'll have to create the role first and then do it. Okay, anyway, we'll do that later. So I'll have to recreate the role and then transfer the ownership back. So do I have it? I have syntax is ready, right? Okay, let me do it anyway. Quickly, sysadmin. So create role. Insufficient. Why? Grant create schema and then grant ownership on schema dev underscore schema dev. So right now I'm not firing it. Let's go to this worksheet and change the role to dev role. Okay, it cannot be done because I'm not assigned it to the user yet. I need to assign it to the user. Here, I'll assign it. Oh, sorry, this is a wrong. Showing you that it cannot be granted to user, right? Any privileges, but role can be granted. Okay, done. Now granted to user. Now I'll be able to select that role. Good. Let me refresh. I'm able to still not see those. Okay. I have not given, I have given the grant for creating the schema now, but now that schema doesn't belong to dev role, right? So I'll have to give grant usage first. Or maybe I'll directly give the ownership. Let's not do that. Now let me give the ownership. Give grant ownership on schema dev schema to role dev role. Given. Refresh. Now I'm seeing. Now it's back to dev role. Now I will give grant ownership on tables also. Okay. These are my dev roles table, right? Grant on table. Dev underscore tab, comma. I don't know this syntax works or not. I'm just trying. It's not working. Leave it. Okay.
Abdul, is there any way that you can copy? Because practically it is not possible to have the table list and give the ownership of all the tables to the new role. It is practically, I don't think it is possible, right? So there should be some way, shortcut or anything to do like this.
Yeah, you can dynamically create that script from. You
Or
can take
else
out.
before drop and role, right? Copy the tables, everything to another, change the ownership of all the objects belongs to a role to another role and drop it. Like that,
Yeah, you can do that. You can give it. You can give ownership to a new role. Okay, to an entirely new placeholder role, and drop the other role, and then later on you can do that stuff. Yeah, you can manage that way. So just for a demo purpose, I'm showing you like how you can transfer back the what do you call it? Transfer back this ownerships. Okay, now we have reinstated the ownerships. It has gone back to dev role. It has gone back to dev role again. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, I wanted to show you that because it is asked in certification, like if you drop the role, what will happen to the objects it had created. Yeah. So we'll stop here. Any questions, guys? Okay, if no questions, we'll meet next weekend. And in between, if you guys see the recording and if you have any doubts, questions, please feel free to connect and ask. And try to participate, guys. I will during the week. I will ask from any random lecture which we have done in the previous lectures. Okay. So yeah. Okay. Thank you, guys, and have a good week ahead.
Thank you, Uttam. Same to you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.